This is another piece of Siberian elm from the tree we've had trimmed in our backyard. We've had that tree trimmed 2 times. Once was a little over a year ago, and the other one was closer to 10 years ago. This one came from about 10 years ago. It ended up in the firewood pile, but about 6 months ago, going through that pile to straighten it up, I saw that and I thought, well, I'm not going to burn this one, I've got to turn it. So I have actually drilled a flat spot in there, and I have my new worm screw adapter attached to it. So let's get it mounted up and see if we can make something interesting out of this. It's got 2 branches there and this one, so I think it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, I've got it all mounted up and it's actually pretty balanced. I'm going to start with a 5/8 bowl gouge, and we're doing around 500 RPM. Okay, well I think it's doing a little better job that way. I have a long ways to go on this one. If I can get a little more RPM. 600. I guess I sort of see something here. Alright, I need to cut some of this away, see what we can end up with, but I like that look right there. I don't know, that's kind of interesting. That's just not going to work out though. Not sure how to fasten that on there either. So when I stopped on this yesterday, I knew the bark was not on very good. I thought about forcing some glue in here and clamping it. Then I realized that, well, I might get it fastened here, but when I turn the other side, it may just fall off anyways. So rather than doing that, I decided to test it, and it didn't take very little at all, and it just popped off in big pieces. So we're not going to have bark on this one, but it still has a very interesting shape. So what I'm going to do is clean this up here and either cut a recess or a tenon. I'll get this cleaned up and we'll get it flipped around and try to make something out of it. So let me get set up and we'll do that. Alright, we're all set up. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch bowl gouge at around 750 RPM. I'm going to go ahead and bring the tailstock up while I recut this, just to give it a little bit of support. Yeah, that's not bad. Didn't have to worry about chipping the bark off anymore. Not too bad. I have these tips to do. I'll switch to a different 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And this one is the one with more of a fingernail grind. Just to get the rest of this. Let's give me a better angle to get into there. This one here had it leaning back that way. This one I could go at it like this. Just a little bit more. It's cutting good, so we'll go ahead and finish it. Okay, alright, I'm going to go ahead and sand this. This feels pretty good. So I'm going to start out by just doing this one that sticks out farther. I sand that like that, and these, and then I think I can get, well, let's just see if I can. Do this in reverse and see if I can get part of this down below it at about 500 RPM. Pull the tailstock out of the way now. And go ahead and cut that in there with the parting tool. Okay. Alright, I think I'll just go ahead and get it flipped around and start cutting the inside, and I'll decide if I want to leave any of this bark right here, which I kind of would like to. It's actually not bark anymore, but it's the remnants of it. So I have it all flipped around, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to leave and what I want to cut away. I'm going to start by leaving this. I may not end up that way, but that's where I'm going to start. See what kind of an opening we can get there. So I'm going to get my face shield on and we'll get going. Alright, we're going to use the 1/2-inch bowl gouge. We'll do 750 RPM. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. I have these 3 very sharp corners. Gotta make sure I stay away from those. So you can see right here, there's a bark inclusion there, and I believe it's coming from right here. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to keep cutting that. Try to make it a little bit bigger opening down here and work my way down to the bottom, and we have probably an inch to go. Well, I'm ready to sand now, but before I do, I'm going to go over it with the Sandiflex. This whole surface is pretty flaky, and this will clean it off quite well. So all I'll do is just let this sit like that and sand it like this. Okay, that's going to look great. I'll go ahead and finish doing that because there's some areas that are going to be hard to get at, and I'll be back and we'll sand the inside, which is going to be pretty simple, and then we can put a finish on it. Well, I'm ready to sand it now, and it shouldn't be too hard because it's so small, but these areas here, I'll need to do it with a sheet of sandpaper and just go over it like this. This is 120 grit. That actually sands very nicely. And once I do that, I'll use the 2-inch disc a little deeper inside here like this. So it's all going to be real easy, and I'll work my way up to 400 doing that, and I'll be back and we will put a finish on it. Well, it's all sanded to 400 and it's time to put the finish on it. And I plan on using shellac based sanding sealer and then shellac. I have that really soft bark area here. I'm hoping to soak some of the sealer in it and toughen it up, but wow, that has really got some nice colors in there. Not sure if you can see that or not. It certainly doesn't take much to get in that little bowl area, but what this thing is all about is this rim up here. It's real ripply where the bark was. I think that's going to look pretty good. It doesn't even look like wood. It looks like a piece of leather. It's going to be real nice up here. So I'm all the way around it, so it's not going to take much. But it's soaking it in, so I'll probably get at least 2, maybe 3 coats of this on, and then I'll get the shellac on. So I'll see you when we're done with that. Well, it is all done, and I really like how it turned out. I wasn't sure because it was an unusual looking piece to start with, and it still is, and that's what I like about it. From this corner to this corner is 8.5, and from this corner to this corner is 6.5, and the bowl area is only 3.5. But I didn't want to cut any more because this wood is textured. The pictures will show it. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's all textured. And then underneath the bark was this odd growth, and you couldn't see that with the bark on top of it. But I think it might be a burl because that tree is full of burls. And then I've got this little inclusion down here, which I really like. And the colors around that are spectacular. That inclusion goes all the way through. I finished it with Zinsser seal coat and Zinsser shellac, and I think that's the best finish for this type of wood. And there's the bottom, and it's not a complete bottom, but it still sits nice and flat. Something else very unusual about this piece, as I was turning it, on the bottom I saw a face, and there was eyeballs over here, great big ones staring at me, and then these lopsided ears. And when the bark was on there, it really looked like a little wild animal staring at me. But I think that's what made it very unusual as well. So I'm really happy with it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. I enjoy reading them all. Thank you to all my current subscribers. It really means a lot to me. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I do videos weekly. If you click that share button, you can share it with all your friends on social media. That would be great. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.